So far we were able to bind the toDate column to the value of from date. But what if we want to make it more interesting? What if we want the toDate to be the end of the month of the from date? Well, we know how to get the end of the month when we're making a simple update. We can say from date dot value dot end of month. But that will only work once. It will work on start. And if we'll remove the bind value for a second, we will see that it works, but only when we start, because if we change this to 1st of March 2017, it will not respond. So how do we bind the toDate to an expression? Well, this is where generics and both generics and delegates will help us. So first of all, let's get rid of this one because we don't need it over here. And let's look at the other overloads of bind value. So the first overload gets a column of type date, which we've just used. The second value gets a func date. What is a func? Let's have a look at it. Let's go to the code of bind value, go to definition, and we can see that there is a bound value that gets a func. And let's go and look at the func. And we can see that func is a delegate. Remember those from our delegates discussion? So previously we've seen action with a type. Now we can see func with a type. And a func with a type means that we need to provide it with a method that gets no parameters but returns the type. So in our case, if we look at our code over here, we want to get a method that returns a date because the type we're looking at is date. Great. So let's create that method and later we'll use better code to write it better. But let's start by creating that method. I'm going to say over here, well, it needs to return date, so I'm going to say date. And I'm going to say end of month of start date. That's the name that I gave to my method. And then I'll write return from date dot end of month, just like that. Perfect. And we'll put this method here. Okay, notice that we are adding the method name. We are not sending the value of the method. We're not sending the parens because we're not calling the method. We are sending the method as a parameter. And that method will be evaluated whenever the from date column would change. Let's run this code. So if I'll change the date over here to February 17, it will respond. And March 17, it will respond. So to bind a column to an expression, we create a method for it initially, later we'll improve on that, but we'll send that delegate, that method, to that parameter. Let's have a look at the code compare to see the changes that we've done. So instead of binding to the from date, we are now binding to the end of months of start date method that we've just created, which returns the end of month.